Well, good morning and welcome to Ed's Orchids. Now today it's the turn of the Cattleya Golf Green Hairy Pig. Now this is because Nina has come up with a thing for the CareCollab, and she will be putting a video on Golf Green, and so will Karins Orchids. So just look for the CareCollab sign and you'll get probably all the information you need. This will come from probably different parts of the world, so it'll tell you, like in January, like it is now, how the plants are doing, in the northwest of England where I am, how they're doing in southern Spain where Nina is, and how Karins Golf Green is doing. And I've just forgotten where she is, whether she's in Florida or Australia. But you'll get an idea of the times of the year and what they look like and how old they are, and what they're like in January. So let's start talking about how I keep and what I think about these Golf Green Hairy Pigs. Well, they're one of my favourites, and they're really, really nice. This one I've had around about 12 months. I got it just before the virus started, and it was only a small plant, sort of about that big, but it's got 5 new growths on it now, and it's got some more coming up. It's never flowered yet, so I'm hoping for this time next year it'll have some beautiful blooms up. These come from a group of Cattleyas which are very, very showy. And they can be up to 8 inches wide. I think it comes from a group called the Cattleya, something like that. But they're very, very showy. Now these are Sympolia Orchids, which means that they grow from a rhizome which creeps along the top of the pots where you plant them, and that rhizome should just rest on the top of on the medium, whichever you're using, and you should be able to see it, at least the top of the rhizome. And they grow along this rhizome from generally the bottom of a newish growth, which we have one here. You have a little nubbins on the bottom, and we all know what little nubbins are, and they continue to grow and grow until they make a nice new pseudobulb. Now this is a cross between Cattleya moschum and Digbayana, and it produces a beautiful, beautiful frilly flower which it gets from the Digbayana, and the colour of it is like a cross between green and white to give you a nice delicate pink colour. Now to grow these, I think the most important thing that you can give them, or the two most important things you can give them, are warmth and light. Not too much bothered about water. Now warmth, they can stand it as warm as you can give it to them. I mean, I grow this indoors in my warm room indoors, and it's warmed up by the central heating system, of course, and it gets up to around about 27, 28 during the day, and drops down to 17, 18 at night time. So that's absolutely perfect for it, for warmth. As for light, I grow it under a Mars Hydro, SP150 I think it's called, or SP250, and that gives absolutely fantastic light for these plants, which I put only about a foot over the top of the plant, over the top of the plant, so we're talking about probably almost a couple of feet from the base, from the top of the medium. And this I have on for 10, 12, 14 hours a day, which seems to suit it very, very well, because as I've shown before on my videos, the plants are growing very, very well. Now, as far as medium goes, this one I got, as I said, just probably 12 months ago, and it hadn't got a very good root system, but I repotted it, and I seem to have ruined what roots it had. So I put it in some coconut fibre, which I'd washed very, very well, and take all the salts away, and it's doing quite well now. It's growing some nice roots, not as many as I would like, but it's growing some nice new growths on it. All potted in these pond plants. These pots are made for pond plants, and what I do, I make the holes much bigger to accommodate more air going in and more room for the roots to grow. Well, as you've probably guessed after me telling how long I keep those lights on for, is that this part of the world, the northwest of England, which is Lancashire, just further north than Manchester, and we don't get that much light out here, you know, not like they do in southern Spain, where it's beautiful, warm and light and wanting another, so it's much easier. But the benefits of here is that we have the humidity, which they don't have down there. Now then, feeding, right, yeah. Like this now is starting to grow new pseudobulbs, so I will give it some a little more nitrogen. Nitrogen helps the feed, but make sure you don't give it too much nitrogen, or else it'll grow and grow and you'll get a very leggy plant. So don't give it, just make sure it gets a little bit of nitrogen. When I use calcium nitrate, there's nitrogen in that, so I don't need to add any more to it. Now when the plant's coming up in sheath, I stop using the nitrogen and give it a little bit more phosphorus, and that helps in the blooming of the process. But once the plant has bloomed, I stop feeding. I've always done that, and I don't think there's any scientific reason why, but that's something that I do. Now then, when it gets too big for its pot, you either repot it in something a little bit bigger, or you can divide it. And if you divide it, you want to make sure that you've got at least 4 pseudobulbs per division. Now, as you can see, I like my plants to be nice and uniform and going straight up and not spreading out all over the place. This is why I've wired them up, like you can see, and that's only aluminium, a very soft aluminium, and it's only just over 0.5 millimetre thick. So that's what I do, and the best time to do it is when the new pseudobulbs are pliable, you know, and they'll bend easily. And I fasten to the sides, I go around them and just fasten to the sides, and that's the way I do it, because I don't like untidy plants. Now I know a lot of the growers, and I think Nina's one of them, grows in semi-hydroponics, and I used to use that, so 10-15 years ago, and I had some beautiful Cattleyas, and what happened to them was after 2 years, 2.5 years, they suddenly started going down and losing all the roots and no new growth on them. And I put that down to, and I might be wrong, it's just my opinion, I put it down to the roots always being damp. Because as you know, that Cattleya roots, once they're watered, should be allowed to dry out completely before being watered again. So I put losing my plants those years ago down to semi-hydroponics, but a lot of people proved me wrong. But Cattleyas, they do like the roots to dry out, and when the roots are nice and white they take a lot of air. So the pots I put them in there, you can see the holes I make into them. They get plenty of air in there, and they get the drying out period. Now this plant wasn't doing very well when I first got it. I had it in a large bark like I have in all my other Cattleyas, and Anglicans of course, and it wasn't doing very well, so I changed it to coconut husk. You know, the coconut husk, which I washed out very well. I've made videos on it, and taken all the salts out of the coconut husk, and since then it's doing very, very well. I mean, you can see some roots down there coming through, and it's doing particularly well. In coconut husk, this doesn't dry out quite as quickly as the large bark, because the coconut husk evidently soaks up a lot more water. So this doesn't get watered probably 3/4 as much as the other ones do. As you know, they like to dry out completely, as I've said before, and if you use a large bark on them, the water runs through quite quickly, and it allows the roots to dry quite quickly. So that's what I do prefer. But having used this coconut husk several times, and I've used it in Masdevallias and things like that, it seems to work absolute wonders. Not doing quite well on the Paphiopedilums up to now though. Anyhow, we're talking about Cattleyas and golf green, and there's not much more I can say about this one. So I can't say much more about a golf green. Just have to wait till it blooms before I show you this one again. And so I'd like to thank you for having a look at the channel, and I hope you'll have a look at Nina's and Karen's channel on this plant, and maybe I can pick up some tips from them. So thank you very much once again for watching. Thank you to all my subscribers, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I would very much like you to do so, because it does help this channel. So until next time, once again, let me thank you and wish you all the best of health, and I'll see you next time. Bye.